started out this morning. This is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was kidnapped in 41 and brought to this country and given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers, and I still have to use that name. And I found out in '83 that both twins, Peggy and Carl, had been killed by their mother. They were born out of wedlock. And anyway, what I want to put, this is the third tape I'm putting up, and I'll tell you why I'm putting this one up. I've got a bunch of tapes on for the last 2.5 years, and a friend gave me this so I could upload the videos make attempts at least the best I can to document what had been done to me in my kidnapping and the crimes, horrible crimes committed against me, and about the mind control murders. I was writing about, I'd worked for doctors, and I'll say this real quick because the video, I only have 10 minutes and they go off, but I found out this morning that a lot of my videos can't be viewed. I've only told the truth. Not one time have I lied about anything in it. You can't even get the truth all up there on it. So I found out this morning, I Googled, and some of mine can't be seen. Well, not just Googled, it came up on when I was trying to re-put one up, and I found out that it's one that can't be seen. So here's the deal. I put this up about Ennis Cosby being a mind control murder, and the reason it was done in pattern. And this one I am sure of. Well, I'm sure of all the ones I've said. But here's a bit of putting this to you. I found out why would one of my videos about Ennis Cosby being shot. It was a young Russian fella that was programmed, and he was programmed. He wasn't told by the father, Bill Cosby, to kill his son that I know of, unless Bill Cosby is programmed. And I don't know. I really don't. I did have concerns because I know that the young fella that shot his son on the side of the road out there, his son Ennis' car had a flat or something happened. He pulled off and he was shot. And this young fella, evidently, that shot him has written some books. I just Googled this. I had no reason to go until I found out that was one of the videos that couldn't be shown that I put up. So I'm going to tell you the connection here, whether Mr. Cosby, Bill Cosby, was programmed, because programming has been going on since the Tesla files were stolen in '30, and it's done mass now. They can mass program armies. Well, let me put it this way. The Virginia Tech next door to me was mind control murder, just like a whole bunch that the press, oddly enough, is telling about, but people just wanted to take the guns away. It's the mind control and programming. They programmed this young man who I briefly met. He was a German diplomat's son. At the time, his father was a German diplomat. He's in prison here in Buckingham State Prison, Virginia, and so is Elizabeth. They were students at University of Virginia in Charlottesville, and a butcher knife was used. So I'm just saying that, and I want to get to this, because there's a long list of them. Dorothy Kilgallen, that was a columnist that had the link to the Kennedy. Suddenly, this woman who's famous and older was supposed to have, suddenly after she said she had the link on, she was on password and what's your line, my line. I'm hurrying to try to get this up, okay, before the video goes off, and I have to start giving background on it again, which eats up the time. She suddenly was supposed, this woman, how old was she, 42, 52, on up there, suddenly committed suicide? What a bunch of crap. Said she suddenly became paranoid schizophrenic and committed suicide. That's a bunch. The mental health is being used in this programming, and it's to take the guns and background checks that are, I'm going to leave it at that and get to this. I've put it up here, and obviously some of my videos can't be viewed, and so I wondered about this one. Larry Flynn, I'm going to make this short. Larry Flynn, I was out there. He was one of them that was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and the man that shot him was programmed to shoot him, just like Governor Wallace of Alabama, Laurel, Maryland, Martin Luther King. Why won't they tell the truth about this? Because they do know. Oh, yes, they do. Andrew Young. And there's a long list of them. But what I wanted to get here is the connection to Cosby, son. Okay, I was flown out to Flint's because one of the doctors I had written about was a congressman, Larry McDonald. His plane, the passenger plane, that he was on flew into Russian airspace August the 31st of 83. It was shot down and all aboard killed. Okay, it was en route from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea. They took Nixon off, former President Nixon, in Juneau, so they had somebody knew it was going down. Anyway, I had written about him, and he tried to help. He had to be a part of trying to have me killed. Mr. Flint mentioned him here in this endorsement, 83. I was out there in the campaign to replace Larry McDonald in 83. This was in 84, the endorsement. Now then, to get to the point without trying to give background on it, I got a lot of YouTubes up, and this was one of them. Anyway, it was just today I found out it was on a list that can't be shown. Mr. Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, the person programmed to shoot him. Later, the doctor I wrote about is on the plane that shot down. It veered into Russian airspace. You can program your pilot, and it all looks legit. He flew into Russian airspace, and they shot it down. So stop and think about what's going on. The James Holmes and the Aurora, Colorado, and all of these that have suddenly popped up, that people just suddenly decided to start shooting. Well, they use knives and drive the car into the river and drown if they're programmed to. So I want to get back to this. Flown out to Flint's. Mr. Flint showed me the parody, the galley proof of it, and I wondered why. And it was about going to be published about Jerry Falwell here at Liberty University in Lynchburg, where I'm at in Roanoke. I never knew that I was going to be in Roanoke, okay? Later I ended up here, and I've forgotten when Mr. Flint came here, but the parody, he had been sued in federal court here in Roanoke, where I'm at, and I'm going to make it real short here. For telling the truth, I've suffered hell every day of my life, and this man has suffered. I'm not sure if that's Mr. Flint or not. I've been told that his insides, bless his heart. I don't like pornography, but I can tell you what, if this is ever told, this man told the truth, and he paid a price for it, just like I have. But anyway, he was shot with a Magnum, so I'll leave it at that. It may be Mr. Flint. I was out there. I thought it was. But his probation officer here in Roanoke was Ennis, a black probation officer. Now then, because I was shut down and living on the side of the road, begging from one place to the other, walking and having things done to me, I went up to the Appalachian Trail and actually lived up there in a shelter at Full Heart Knob. I was treated horrible by people, starved, froze, shut down. And the thing was, I was locked up more than once by the Rangers. And the first time I was locked up, I did have an attorney, but he didn't really represent me other than he paid the $15 fine. And the federal judge Conrad, told Ennis, here I end up with Mr. Flint's probation officer, black probation officer, and told to find me a place to live. Well, I sit down in the whoopee cushion in the federal building. It's a joke. And sit down, and you know how that sounds. Well, Mr. Ennis went through looking for all these places, Salvation Army Rescue Mission. It's like I'm this criminal that so low down that nobody will touch. Let me remind you, I haven't committed a crime. I am a victim. You can't believe the laws that they have broken against me. So I can get this up. It's going to go out now. You got the input of Ennis and me telling about the son was a mind control murder, the Russian